Let's take a second right now to have a moment of silence for Washington Mystics owner Shelly Johnson, who suggested that the WNBA as a whole should have been on the cover of Time magazine instead of just Caitlin Clark, who graced the cover last week, which is probably some of the stupidest shit I've ever heard.
What do you get when you mix record-breaking stats, a Time magazine cover, and a whole lot of good old-fashioned jealousy? Apparently, that's the byproduct of the Caitlin Clark effect. That's what. But here's the real question. Why is everyone so mad about her success? From Matt Barnes to Jim Jackson, some big names in basketball are speaking out. And oh boy, they did not hold back. They're not just defending Clark, they're exposing a bigger issue in women's sports. Want to know what's really going on? Let's break it down.
Caitlin has brought a ton of new opportunity, a ton of new eyeballs, and more money to the sport. So instead of downplaying the magnitude of who she is and what she's brought, enjoy the ride and take advantage of the ride.
You know what should have been a slam dunk for women's basketball? Caitlin Clark nabbing Time's Athlete of the Year. But guess what? Some folks aren't exactly popping champagne over this one.
Man, first of all, she's unbelievable talent. You know, the things that she's doing is great in her own right. She's creating her own space, she's doing her own thing.
Picture this, a young star, breaking records left and right, lands a major magazine cover. Sounds like a win, right? Well, not everyone's cheering. Instead of applause, Clark's getting some serious side-eye from unexpected places. What gives?
While the NBA's ratings continue to drop over 30%, as they try to figure out who is going to fill the shoes of LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry, the WNBA has a golden goose sitting in their league and it's gotten better, but has done everything to kind of discredit the momentum and eyeballs she's brought to this game.
Let's break down the backlash because it's juicier than a gossip mag at the hair salon. We're talking whispers of favoritism, cries of too soon, and even some salty comments from within the WNBA itself. Sheila Johnson, co-owner of the Washington Mystics, isn't pulling any punches. She's out here saying the whole WNBA should have gotten the nod, not just Clark. Talk about raining on someone's parade.
It's just the structure of the way media plays out race. I'm going to be very honest. I feel really bad because I've seen so many players of color that are equally as talented, and they never got the recognition that they should have. And I think right now, it is time for that to happen.
Johnson's not stopping there. She's worried this Clark spotlight might create some bad blood in the league. When you just keep singling out one player, it creates hard feelings, she says. Ouch. Can you imagine winning a huge award and having people say it should have gone to everyone else? She's saying there are so many players of color that are equally as talented, and they never got the recognition they should have. This drama, it's not just Twitter noise.
Over 31% of the Mystics' entire attendance was in 2 games the Caitlin team played against the Mystics. The Sparks, the Aces, the Mystics, the Dream, all moved games when Fever came in town because of the attention that Caitlin and her teammates have drawn that last season. Fever's jersey sales was up 1,000% and attendance was up 250%. And they had the largest attendance on average per year, just over 17,000 per game.
It's got real consequences for Clark and the league. Johnson's worried about division and jealousy creeping into the WNBA. She's even name-dropping other talents like Angel Reese, saying, "It's not just Caitlin Clark, it's Reese. We have so much talent out there that has been unrecognized. So why are people so pressed about Clark's success? Turns out, it's complicated. But don't worry, we're just getting started." Speaking of getting started, let's hear what some big names in basketball have to say about all this. Because trust me, they're not holding back. Are you ready to hear more?
Let me say this, Caitlin Clark deserves all the flowers. I think she took a lot of shit and a lot of skeptics coming into the league, as she should. Like, she had to really prove herself. Missed out on the Olympic opportunity, and really had a lot of hard knocks early on in the season where she was getting beat up and her teammates were just watching her. I think the camaraderie in that locker room grew, and that team started playing together and made the playoffs, made a nice little run, and had a solid season.
All right, picture this. Matt Barnes, NBA champ and no stranger to stirring the pot, steps up to the mic. And boy, does he have some things to say about Caitlin Clark and the WNBA. You know it's going to be good when Barnes starts talking, right? Let's be real. Barnes isn't just defending Clark. He's putting the whole WNBA on blast. But why? Well, he's not mincing words. He's out here saying Clark deserves all the flowers. That's right, all of them. And he's not stopping there. Barnes is calling out the skeptics who've been side-eyeing Clark since day one.
So Caitlin is someone who has, if you look at it, done everything you're supposed to do and has been criticized along every step of the way. Again, she's damned if she does, and she's damned if she doesn't.
But here's where it gets juicy. Barnes drops some reality. The WNBA has a golden goose sitting in their league and has done everything to kind of discredit the momentum and eyeballs she has brought to this game. Let's break down Barnes's argument. He's not just throwing shade for the sake of it. He's talking numbers, impact, and yeah, a little bit of that good old locker room real talk. Barnes is pointing out how Clark has been bringing in the fans and the buzz. But instead of capitalizing on that, he thinks the league is dropping the ball, big time.
I think they're doing an amazing job with, like you said, telling the story. And the players are actually doing their thing when they get there,
yes,
too. You know, like you mentioned, these couple of players, but Caitlin being the one that we're speaking about right now, she is kicking everybody's ass, really.
You know what's really got Barnes fired up? The criticism from Washington Mystics co-owner Sheila Johnson. Remember how she said the whole WNBA should have gotten Time's Athlete of the Year, not just Clark? Well, Barnes isn't having it.
When you see the people say it's not just her, there's other players, and again, we're not distracted. We understand the depth of talent in that league, but when you also see the numbers that back up the fact that Caitlin has a huge effect. Caitlin Clark is responsible for nearly 27% of the WNBA's league-wide activity in 2024, including attendance. 1 in 6 tickets sold at the WNBA arena attributed to Caitlin Clark. TV viewership was up 300% with Caitlin Clark.
But here's the thing. Barnes isn't just throwing shade. He's got some pretty solid points about marketing, fan engagement, and the future of the game. He's asking the real questions. Why isn't the league doing more to promote its biggest star? Why are they letting this opportunity slip through their fingers?
If we had to compare from what we've seen from the NBA, it would, in her effect, probably something similar to Larry Bird.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, but isn't this just another dude talking about women's sports? Fair, but stick with me, because Barnes is dropping truth left and right. He's not just talking as an ex-player, he's talking as someone who knows the business of sports. Barnes is suggesting that the WNBA might be sabotaging its own success story. Ouch. That's not just a hot take. That's a 5-alarm fire. He's basically saying the league is shooting itself in the foot by not fully embracing Clark and the attention she's bringing.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You know, they continue to push the game to the next level, you know, and you look at where the NBA was and now where the NBA is at now. And although everyone doesn't agree with the style of play, these guys have taken it to the next level as far as the business of basketball.
Right.
And I think that's what Caitlin will affect, is the business of women's basketball, man. So we wish them the best. Definitely excited to see these upcoming seasons and these women continue to do their thing.
But guess what? Barnes isn't the only one speaking up. This conversation is just getting started, and there are more voices joining the chorus. So let's see what another NBA veteran has to say about this whole situation. Because if Barnes's comments are anything to go by, this debate is far from over. All right, folks, let's talk about Jim Jackson. This former NBA star turned analyst isn't just throwing his hat in the ring. He's tossing the whole wardrobe. And he's got some spicy takes on Caitlin Clark and the WNBA.
Congratulations to Caitlin Clark for being named Time Athlete of the Year. I get why people are so upset. I'm a basketball player and a basketball fan. There's a lot of dynamics and a lot of layers to this thing when it deals with Caitlin Clark. But I will say that this is just my opinion. It's certain people, I don't care if you're black, white, Spanish, from Europe, it doesn't matter. That have it, that draws something, okay? And Caitlin is one of those.
So what's Jackson's angle? It's all about the green, baby. No, not the court. We're talking cold, hard cash. Or as the suits like to call it, marketability. Jackson's not beating around the bush here. He's saying Clark's got that special something. that X factor that makes people sit up and take notice.
People, keep in mind, this is a business. When Nike signs a athlete, okay, they want to get an ROI, return on their investment. How do they do that? Because that athlete resonates. You understand that Caitlin Clark, her jerseys, her apparel, if she has an apparel deal, her shoes will sell.
Here's where things get interesting. Jackson's comparing Clark to some WNBA legends. And his conclusion? Well, let's just say it's ruffling some feathers. He's out here saying Clark's more marketable than A'ja Wilson, the current MVP of the WNBA court. You heard that right. According to Jackson,
Caitlin may not beat, A'ja Wilson is the best player in the WNBA, but Caitlin is more marketable because people tend to resonate. I don't care, black, white, whatever it may be. And now there is a race component to it. It always will be in some regards, okay? But the player itself, the person, what she was able to do, how she resonated, how she drew eyes to the TV.
Let's dive into Jackson's analysis. He's not just pulling this out of thin air. He's talking star power, fan engagement, and yeah, that tricky topic of race in sports marketing. Jackson's not shy about it either.
I don't agree with the Mystics owner saying that the whole WNBA should have been named up, because that's not true. The whole WNBA benefited this year from the viewership increase.
You know who else Jackson thinks has that special sauce? Steph Curry. Yep, he's drawing parallels between Clark and the NBA's Golden Boy. Jackson points out,
it's the reason why Steph Curry, who may not be the best player, okay, in the NBA, but he draws differently. He draws different. He can be marketed differently than other players. And some players who may be considered better, maybe a Kevin Durant. But the market, to market Kevin Durant is a lot different than marketing Steph Curry. People resonate with Steph Curry a lot more than a KD.
it's not just about being the best on the court. It's about connecting with fans off it. But wait, there's more. Jackson isn't just talking about Clark. He's painting a bigger picture of the WNBA's future. He's pointing out how the whole league got a boost from Clark's college performance. That's right, we're talking rising tides lifting all boats here.
There's some other players that get deals, men and women, okay, that have signature shoes that despite how good they are as a player, great as they are as a player, they don't move product because it doesn't resonate, it doesn't translate.
Now, you might be wondering, is this really about basketball anymore? Good question. Because according to Jackson, it's not just about how you play the game, it's about how you sell it. And Clark, she's selling like hotcakes.
What translates is when Caitlin Clark came into the league and 30,000 jerseys were already ordered, that the Indiana Fever, the season tickets were already sold out. When you go on the road to the Mystics and they have to change the venue in which it's going to be played to play, you know, where the Wizards play, okay, on a couple of occasions. It's only certain people that do that. Whether you like Caitlin or not, are you interested? If you're a ball player, it's certain aspects you got to love about Caitlin's game.
So we've heard from the guys. But what about the league itself? What's the WNBA saying about all this? Well, that's where things get really interesting. So we've heard from NBA vets, fans, and critics about Caitlin Clark's Time Athlete of the Year award. But you know who's been suspiciously quiet? The WNBA itself. Weird, right?
You know well enough that in 1984, when Michael Jordan came into the NBA, the ratings in the NBA were not great. Chicago Stadium was, a third full. He's getting the lion's share of the attention. The games are now getting all of his games are on TV. And he just was a polarizing figure. And Tiger Woods was like that when he went to the PGA as well. He changed the total economics of golf the same way Michael Jordan changed the financial economics of the NBA.
Let's set the scene. You've got this rookie phenom breaking records, bringing in fans by the truckload, and making headlines left and right. Sounds like a marketer's dream, doesn't it? You'd think the WNBA would be shouting from the rooftops, popping champagne, and planning parades. But instead, crickets. What's going on behind those closed doors at WNBA HQ? Here's where it gets messy. Some folks are saying the silence speaks volumes. Are we looking at jealousy, politics, or something else entirely? Remember what Sheila Johnson, co-owner of the Washington Mystics, said? She thinks singling out Clark creates hard feelings in the league. Yikes. Is that why the WNBA's keeping mum?
The idea of some players being jealous, yes, that probably exists.
Okay.
To me, yeah, jealous, sure. I mean, would you be jealous of somebody that got $28 million a shoe deal or whatever the deal is before you step foot in the pros?
Now, you might be thinking, maybe they're just letting Clark have her moment. Nice thought. But here's the thing. The league's silence might be doing more harm than good. And it's not just Clark feeling the chill. This whole situation is shining a spotlight on some deeper issues in the WNBA. So where does this leave us? And more importantly, where does it leave Caitlin Clark? The WNBA's got a golden opportunity here, but they're treating it like a hot potato. Johnson's worried about creating hard feelings. But isn't that exactly what's happening with this silent treatment?
I think with that, there's going to be, it's human nature sometimes to have some envy or some jealousy. And it's happening now to Caitlin Clark.
So what's the game plan, WNBA? Are they going to step up and embrace their new star, or keep playing this weird game of hide and seek? Because right now, it feels like they're letting a slam dunk opportunity turn into an airball. And in the fast-paced world of sports, that's a mistake they might not be able to afford. Here's the deal, folks. Caitlin Clark's nod isn't just about one player shining. It's a whole new ballgame for women's basketball. We're talking game-changing stuff here.
She's doing, rating-wise for the WNBA, what Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Steph Curry have been doing for the NBA.
So what's next on the court? Sure, keep your eyes on Clark as she gears up for the 2025 WNBA season. But the real action? That's happening in the league offices. How the WNBA plays, this could make or break the future of the game. Experts are saying we're at a tipping point. Clark's success could open doors for other players. But will they ride the rising tide? Remember, sometimes the biggest plays happen when the clock's not running. The WNBA's next move? That's the real buzzer beater we're all waiting for. What do you think the WNBA will do next? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.